Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation H VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be trying out one of the top ranking teams from the September rank season. This team finished in the top 30 of the rank season, and it features a lot of fun Pokemon like the combination of Tyranitar plus Excadrill. You've also got Choice Specs Kommo-O, which I think is a really underrated set in the format right now and can deal so much damage with attacks like Clanging Scales. The team also has a Citrus Berry Bulk Up Corviknight, which in my opinion is one of the best walls in the format and can both take a lot of attacks and deal out massive amounts of damage. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's dive into things. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. This team utilizes powerful combinations like Tyranitar plus Excadrill to overwhelm your opponent. You also have Choice Specs Kommo-O, which is a really underplayed set in the format right now. A lot of times when people see Kommo-O, they expect maybe a more setup-oriented set with Iron Defense and Body Press. Choice Specs Kommo-O with that Clanging Scales can just really blow up a lot of teams and catch opponents off guard. Kommo-O doesn't love going up against Steel and Fairy-type Pokemon, and Tyranitar, Excadrill, and Samurott can hit all of those for decent damage. Corviknight on this team is really bulky and can boost its attack and defense via bulk up while healing itself with Citrus Berry and Roost and disrupting teams with Taunt, and you've got Indeedee, which you can use to shut down opposing Trick Room teams. Overall, the team is quite flexible, and Kommo-O is definitely one of the primary stars, but you've got a lot of powerful attackers across the board. Just for some quick context, like I mentioned, this team finished in the top 30 at the end of the September rank season. It's always really hard to finish very high ranking at the end of a season. It's one of the most impressive accomplishments you could have on the online ladder. And this is a Japanese website called Liberty Note, which accumulates all the teams that people publicize and posts them. And so you can see all of the different compositions that people were using to finish really high. So this team ended up finishing in 22nd place, and it really caught my eye because it has a lot of unique Pokemon. You obviously have the Sand Duo of T-Tar plus Excadrill, which has had a lot of VGC success previously, not as common these days. You also have Hisuan Samurott, Corviknight, as well as Kommo-O. So huge thank you to Ziz00 for building and sharing this team, and congrats to them for such a high ranking. Breaking down each individual Pokemon, the first one I want to highlight is Kommo-O. Now, Kommo-O is really interesting because there's so many different ways that you can actually use this Pokemon in VGC. We saw Iron Defense Body Press be really popular at one point, and it even won a regional championship about a year ago. But this set is just designed to take advantage of Kommo-O getting access to strong special attacks. Now, Kommo-O's base special attack isn't actually amazing, it's just base 100, but Clanging Scales is just an insane move because it doesn't miss and it hits both of your opponent's Pokemon, right? So the idea is that you can really use this to disrupt opposing teams. Draco Meteor is stronger and can snipe off a Pokemon. Aura Sphere is really nice to hit things for super effective damage like Incineroar and Ursaluna Blood Moon and King Gambit, for example. And Terra Blast with Ghost Terra can really catch your opponents off guard. Overcoat's an awesome ability because it makes you immune to Amoongus's powder moves like Spore and Rage Powder, and obviously powder moves in general, but Amoongus in particular, and that's going to be really valuable because normally Amoongus might want to try to Rage Powder your Aura Sphere or Draco Meteor away, for example. This Kommo is really bulky with near max HP investment and max special attack investment. You can definitely take EVs out of HP and special attack and put them in speed. I think one of the awkward things about this Kommo is like, even though it's a pretty fast Pokemon by itself, without any speed investment, you're actually getting outsped by a fair bit in like the 70 to 80 speed tier range. So just keep that in mind because yeah, you as a result will often be slower, but you'll be tanking attacks a little bit better. Ghost Terra, really nice defensively, gets rid of your weaknesses to Dragon and Fairy as well as Ice and Flying, and it of course makes you immune to Fake Out, so you can lead Kommo-O pretty effectively. You've got the classic Tyranitar plus Excadrill duo on this team. The T-Tar here is Choice Scarf, and so of course with Scarf Tyranitar you can just outpace Pokemon really easily. Keep in mind that there are some Pokemon in the format that are so fast that even Scarf Tyranitar will not outpace. Specifically, if you're up against things like Dragapult and Kilowattrel, which I've been running into more recently, Tyranitar will still be slower. Otherwise, pretty straightforward. Flying Terra, Terra Blast, also just really effective in terms of dealing damage. Flying Terra is nice defensively for Tyranitar to help you get around your weakness to fighting and ground. Excadrill on this team is fairly straightforward. The main thing to note is that you actually are running Ghost Terra. Sometimes people like Ground Terra or Stellar Terra for more damage, but this team really likes Ghost Terra to get around those fake outs on turn 1. So it means that you can just go for Terra immediately and become immune to fake out and go for damage, when normally something like Incineroar is going to want to click fake out into these. Well, you can just punish them heavily by going for example, super effective Aura Sphere or super effective high horsepower. Some people also run Earthquake on Excadrill, and Earthquake would be nice on this team because you've got Flying Terra, T-Tar, and Corviknight, but Rock Slide is also really nice. It gives you better typing coverage, and when you have Scarf Tyranitar and you click double Rock Slide, the odds of flinching at least one of your opponent's Pokemon is honestly pretty darn good. And so, yeah, double Rock Slide, just a nightmare to go up against, especially if you don't have weather control. You also have offensive Assault Vest Samurott. This Samurott doesn't actually have bulk, so keep that in mind. You have Assault Vest, but you don't have any EVs invested in HP and special defense. But with max speed, you can really catch opponents off guard. I feel like when I play up against Samurott, I expect it to generally be a little bit slower pace, but base 85 speed is already no joke. And then when you have max speed investment on it as well, this thing will really be able to threaten things like Golden Go, for example. Pretty straightforward. The main thing to note here is that you actually don't have Ceaseless Edge because Night Slash is just a little bit stronger, and the residual effect from Ceaseless Edge isn't actually that valuable. Otherwise, you've got Razor Shell, Sacred Sword, Sucker Punch, Grass Terra, really nice defensively, and helps you get around Amoonguss in particular as well. To round things out, you've got Corviknight. Corviknight here is really interesting because it's a defensive Pokemon, but it's actually Adamant Max Attack Corviknight. So after a bulk up boost, this thing actually does so much damage with Brave Bird. People generally will not expect how much you're going to do with it. Bulk up is really nice. What you want to do with this Corviknight is soak up damage, heal it back up with Roost, and also find positions where you can just bulk up in front of physical attackers, right? There are a lot of common attackers in the format right now that really can't do very much in a Corviknight. Something like Rillaboom, for example. Sneasler also doesn't do a ton into Corviknight, especially if you've gotten a bulk up off. And Roost plus Citrus Berry means that you can just take so much damage and then heal it back up, which is awesome. I think the fourth move on Corviknight is pretty flexible, but Taunt is really nice to just disrupt opposing teams, whether it be Amoonguss, for example, or Trick Room setters. It's just a really good utility move. The final Pokemon is one that I bring the least when using this team, but one that's still valuable into particular matchups. It is an Imprison Indeedee with Expanding Force, Imprison, Trick Room, and Protect with Fairy Tera and Psychic Seed. So it's pretty interesting because normally when you're using Indeedee, you want to use it more offensively, but this set is designed to just shut down Trick Room teams. You've got max HP, max defense investment, so you're pretty bulky, and you can still deal meaningful damage with Expanding Force because you're modest, and you have a pretty strong base special attack of 105 here. I think Indeedee I'm normally not bringing unless there are very specific matchups that I'm looking for, right? Like if they have Trick Room, if they have Imprison, or if I want to stop my opponent from being able to protect, then I would consider bringing this. But overall, I'd say when playing with this team, it's definitely the one that comes out the least. So, yeah. In terms of ways with playing with the team, I think T-Tar plus Exca is always a good go-to lead if your opponent doesn't have like too many immediate counters. Some counters to watch out for: Fake Out / Intimidate can be really disruptive. Opposing Weather obviously can be annoying as well. And Pokemon that can just tank your attacks decently well and knock you out in return can be really scary as well. It's like Fighting type Pokemon, Ground type Pokemon. Obviously you can Terra to get around that, but with Tyranitar being Choice Scarf and not being able to protect, that's something your opponents can take advantage of on turn 1. I often like leading Corviknight as well because it's so bulky. It can start setting up with bulk up immediately while soaking up damage, which is really nice. Some other lead combos to think about, for example, include any combination of like T-Tar, one of T-Tar plus Exca with Kommo-O Samurott or Corviknight. Sometimes I'll split T-Tar and Exca, for example, lead Excadrill with Corviknight, but then have Tyranitar in the back if my opponent has Weather, because I don't want to just lead T-Tar Exca and get the Weather changed immediately. So those are just some things you can consider. In terms of things to watch out for, Kommo-O really struggles against Fairy types in particular because obviously they're completely immune to Clanging Scales, and Steel types can be tricky as well if you are locked into a Dragon type attack, right? So using Pokemon defensively to beat Kommo-O can be really valuable. Also, like Dragon type Pokemon just put on a lot of offensive pressure into Kommo-O, right? Going up against a Dragon type that's faster than Kommo-O can be really scary, and taking advantage of the fact that it can't protect is something that can benefit you as well. And because it's not very fast here with only 12 speed EVs, using Pokemon that are around the speed tier range but are faster can be really valuable as well. So like a Dragonite or an Archaudon, for example, can force Terras out of Kommo-O immediately. That's one of the things in general. You don't have Protect with Corviknight or Samurott or Tyranitar, so you can definitely take advantage of the lack of Protects on this team. Tyranitar plus Excadrill definitely doesn't like going up against things like Intimidate and opposing weather, as I mentioned earlier. Fighting type, ground type, water type Pokemon can all be pretty scary as well. One Pokemon in general that's given me a fair bit of trouble while playing with this team is just Primarina. Primarina can wall a good bit of your damage, completely wall Kommo-O while also doing a ton of damage in return. So really well played Primarina can be quite scary. I think otherwise you'll also want to think about the fact that Excadrill often will not get one-hit knockouts. So there are times where I expect to get a KO, I don't get KO'd, and then Excadrill just takes a ton of damage in return, because there are a lot of things that will hit it for super effective damage. Samurott, even though it has the Assault Vest, is still relatively exposed because you have no HP and very little special defense investment, so that's something that you can take advantage of, as well as the fact that it's Assault Vested. Like I said, Corviknight here is actually a little bit less bulkier because you don't have so many EVs, right? In bulk, it's mainly just max HP, and so threatening Corviknight with super effective attacks immediately is scary. I think the other thing to think about is this Corviknight only has Brave Bird for offense, right? So having things that resist Brave Bird can be really valuable. Steel-type Pokemon, for example, can be a huge nuisance, right? Because they just stay on the field, and Corviknight's not able to do too much to them. Having other, ways to threaten Corviknight, like burning it with Will-O-Wisp or threatening it with super effective attacks before it really gets boosted up, is also pretty scary. So those are just a couple of things that I've run into that have given me trouble. Okay, we've got Sableye, Hisuan Decidueye, Goldengo, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Gothitelle, and Dragonite for this one. Sableye is scary thanks to Fake Out, Will-O-Wisp, Quash. Kommo-O is interesting. I could just Ghost Terra immediately with it to avoid Fake Out, which is pretty nice. Goldengo with Choice Specs here would make some sense, though. Grass Terra Samurott's interesting. I feel like they don't have a ton of good damage for Corviknight, so I'm interested in that. I don't think I want to bring Indeedee here, but Corv is interesting. I could taunt with it. Samurott's pretty nice into Goldengo Blood Moon. I'm honestly thinking, yeah, Corv Samurott lead. And then in the back, Tyranitar Excadrill. I do think Kommo-O's really compelling here. I might go Kommo-O plus Tyranitar, honestly. I think, Excadrill's fine here, but it isn't getting a one-hit KO onto most things. The main appeal of it would be high horsepower into Goldengo. But Tyranitar also just has a super effective knockoff into Goldengo. And it gives me Rock Slide. I think the Choice Scarf is something we can use to catch our opponents off guard. It's going to be Gothitelle plus Ursaluna. Okay. Turn 1 then. I have Taunt here into Gothitelle. And Sacred Sword into Ursaluna. Yeah, I'm down for that. They could go Fake Out Blood Moon, Fake Out Hyper Voice, Protect, Trick Room, but it's going to be a Terra to start here on the Ursaluna. Okay, fine by me. Into normal. So I think, yeah, Kommo-O becomes really interesting, right? If I get knocked out here on turn 1. Yep, it is going to be Fake Out into our Samurott. So we'll get Taunt. This is interesting because I think Corviknight now is in a spot where I can just keep going for bulk up, honestly. I'll just go for Hyper Voice here. Okay, works for me. Yep, with Assault Vest, we take that quite nicely. Ah, it's actually Throat Spray. That's cool. I mean, here's the thing. I think, now that Gothitelle is taunted, you're not Mentorb. You can either pivot Gothitelle out and protect Ursaluna, or you can just attack with Ursaluna, because what I want to do is double up onto this. I think doubling up onto it and getting a KO would honestly just win us the game. It's just like the Gothitelle slot is more exposed right now, so it's fairly easy to double up onto that. I want a little bit of chip damage on Ursaluna, though, for sure. Okay, I'm down to just double up on Ursaluna here. Yep, so Goth goes for the switch. Brings out Dragonite. Okay. Nice. They don't protect Ursaluna. There's Sacred Sword. Brave Bird might not KO, but honestly, that's okay. Oh, they survived with like 1 HP. But that's okay. Yeah, Hyper Voice now is just going to activate our Citrus Berry. And I get a free switch in into the Kommo-O now. And with Kommo-O, we can just go for Ghost Terra, Clanging Scales. Ghost Terra is helpful in this matchup for multiple reasons. First of all, it gets rid of our weaknesses to Dragonite's potential attacks in, for example, Dragon-type attacks, Ice Spinner. I could Roost here. I think I'm honestly down to Roost. Just heal back all that damage they've done to us. Terra Ghost and Clanging Scales. It also allows us to switch out of Shadow Tag from Gothitelle, and it helps us avoid Fake Out in the next turn. So, yep, they're going to bring Goth back in, but that's fine. We also want to get to a spot where Tyranitar can just put in a lot of work against our opponent, and at this point, like, you know, they've already committed their Terra, so, like, Rock Slide and Knockoff look really good. So, here's the Ghost Terra. Mainly curious what Dragonite opts for here, but either way, we should get pretty good value out of this turn. Nice! We just get the Choice Specs Clanging Scales off, and look how much damage that does. Should be Assault Vest or Multi-Scale on Dragonite if they were able to survive that. And they go for Breaking Swipe, which is great news for us because Mirror Armor just reflects that back. And I don't care about the attack drop on the Kommo-O. Beautiful. So we get Roost. Ooh, Leftovers, Multi-Scale Dragonite maybe, looks like. Either way, Kommo-O is so well positioned right now. I think we mainly want to respect Trick Room from their end. I'm actually happy going for... Do I want to Taunt here into them? The reason why I think Taunt is intriguing rather than Brave Bird is because they could maybe switch Gothitelle out. And I don't mind if Gothitelle survives the Clanging Scales, which it should, because they just have a Pokemon that can't do very much, right? It's going to just end up protecting here, which is fine. Okay, cool. So I think Specs Clanging Scales here should just knock out the Dragonite. Beautiful. Defense drops, but this is one of the reasons why I wanted to Ghost Terra, right? Now I can just switch the Kommo-O out this next turn. So we've seen Gothitelle have Fake Out and Protect so far. That's basically it. I would have guessed Trick Room. Decidueye actually comes out. Okay. Decidueye is fine by me. I'm honestly happy to just click Brave Bird into it and then switch the Tyranitar in now. Because I think we're in an endgame where the Kommo-O can just come back out and click Clanking Scales and beat everything. And what is Gothitelle going to do in this spot, right? You could Trick Room maybe at best, but I think the Braviary just walls them super hard. So this matchup was interesting because I thought we had a lot of different win conditions. Kommo-O putting in a ton of work right now. And yeah, they're just going to go for triple arrows. So nice play by them to get rid of the Tyranitar. But now I get Brave Bird into your Decidueye. Cool. Maybe I could have just stayed in with Kommo-O there as well, but I think this is totally fine. And it's just Expanding Force from Goth. Nice. I feel like if they had Trick Room, they definitely needed to go for it there to at least set up your Ursaluna for like one more attack, but now we just bring out the Kommo-O and then I just click Clanking Scales and Roost. So Protect, Fake Out, Expanding Force, Gothitelle. Yeah, you would think Trick Room is the last one, right? But one of the main win conditions in this team is just setting up Kommo-O for success, and now we can just go for Roost and Clanking Scales. And with Sandstorm up, Ursaluna just ends up fainting from Sand anyway. So they're going to Protect, but you're a normal type, so you've gotten rid of your ground typing. You're not immune to Sandstorm. And I think Specs Clanking Scales just knocks out Gothitelle here anyway. So here it is. Nice. Ooh, a very satisfying game where the Corviknight was able to just wall my opponent for so much of this game. And, you know, the Ursaluna was interesting because it was that Throat Spray set, but I think Throat Spray is a little bit less consistent on average because your first Hyper Voice is just so much weaker. And, like, Life Orb, I think, generally is higher value on Ursaluna. Tyranitar ends up, you know, not doing much for us in this game other than setting up the Sand, but I think Tyranitar in itself was also a big win condition, just because, like, let's say we eliminate the Decidueye early on, well, then we can just Rock Slide everything, right? And so I think one of the things that makes this team really strong is you have so many different powerful Pokemon to play towards. But what was really good for us is getting enough chip damage onto their main attacker so that the Kommo-O could just threaten my opponent's entire team with those super effective clanking scales. So yeah, really happy to showcase Choice Specs Kommo-O in this one. Okay, we have Hyper Offense here with Murkrow, Delphox, Indeedee, Mousehold, Sneasler, and Dragapult. I think Tyranitar Excadrill should be really solid here. I almost wonder if I should be clicking Imprison. Or sorry, setting up Trick Room with my own Indeedee, because their team is so fast-paced. If I get Trick Room up, who do I want under Trick Room? I mean, Clanking Scales Kommo-O looks like it does so much damage, right? If I were my opponent, I would probably not go Indeedee plus the Delphox. I don't know. Like, I think one approach is just Tyranitar Excadrill. Corv does wall some of the team. But, like, I could go with this, and if they have Indeedee plus... I mean, but their Indeedee will probably just be able to, like, imprison me, right? Tyranitar Excadrill. What do I want in the back? Just Samurott Kommo-O? Just go max offense here? I think, like, Corv doesn't feel super great in a matchup where we don't have that much time to set up with Bulk Up. The main question I had is, like, I think I should be maybe bringing Indeedee into this matchup and just going for Trick Room with it. But our Tyranitar and Excadrill are also pretty fast. So I'm leaning into the faster mode here. Murkrow and Dragapult, okay. If this is what's coming out, my guess is that it's Sunny Day Murkrow, but even if it is, I don't think it's that much of a concern. Dragapult's normally going to be choiced here. You could also just Tailwind, obviously. Yeah, I could just knock off here and Rock Slide. I think I'm down for that. Okay, Murkrow just sets up Tailwind. See what Pult goes for. U-turn? I guess U-turning out into Sneasler would be really effective here, huh? But it's Indeedee. Okay. Eliminate the Indeedee. And one thing I want to do in this game is intentionally keep Murkrow out on the field because it doesn't actually provide that much offense for my opponent, right? Although I guess double Rock Slide there would have just gotten a double KO. But I think in this case, having Murkrow out actually benefits me because it's a slot that I don't have to worry about as much offensively. Okay, falls just over 50% after Sand Chip. So it's close as to whether or not, like, another Rock Slide will KO. Dragapult just switches back in. Dragon Darts right now. You could U-turn again. Flying Terra here is interesting to get around. But I assume they would want to maybe click... if you Darts, though, then Excadrill kind of walls you. I don't know. If I were them, I think I would U-turn here and go out into Sneasler. But I think I want to conserve Terra for this, ideally. Okay, I'm going to knock off High Horsepower, because I'm worried about... Okay, Sunny Day. I was going to say, I was worried about U-turn into Sneasler. Show me Sneasler right now. Because I think if it's Sneasler coming out, or Delphox, honestly, we kind of just win the game if I hit High Horsepower. So let's see. Like, Murkrow's had to do so much work just to set all of this up, right? Okay, it's Delphox. Yeah, I mean, if we hit High Horsepower, it should just knock it out, right? Cool. Sick. Delphox is now gone. Dragapult's the last one. Do I want to go into Samurott first? or Kommo-O first? I think I like Samurott first more here. Yeah. Because it's a little bit bulkier. They could Phantom Force. I think I also definitely want to respect Ghost Terra Blast, but if you lock into that, then this just wins. You could Dragon Darts Foul Play. Two turns of Tailwind left. Murkrow's Foul Play is scary right now. So I want a Night Slash here into Dragapult. Night Slash, and I think I would ideally just like to Iron Head to get rid of Murkrow. Okay, it's just Darts being committed. And no Terra. Wait, doesn't Night Slash just KO Dragapult then? Does Foul Play even KO us? Okay, it does, which is scary. But if Night Slash KOs Dragapult, then we just win the game. I was surprised to not see Terra there, but it might be because it's just Ghost Terra. Nice. Cool. I think the scary thing about using Hyper Offense is that all of the Pokemon are just so easily KO'd. Right, we were able to get a one-hit knockout on a Delphox, one-hit knockout on a Dragapult, and now Kommo-O just comes out. Nice. Last turn of Tailwind here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. We can just go for Sacred Sword. And probably better to Ghost Terra here, since we're special anyway. Clinking Scales. Because, yeah, like, this helps get around Brave Bird in case they have it. Oh, wait, there's no way they have it, right? We've seen Tailwind, Sunny Day. Like, I would guess they have Haze, so it's actually likely that their only offensive attack is Foul Play. Yeah. But I don't think this KOs anyway. Yeah, exactly. Even if it crits, it doesn't KO. So I at least cover for, like, the wild possibility of Brave Bird existing. But normally it should be, like, Quash or Haze. So either way, I think the thing that we were able to do effectively in this game was basically not have my opponent have two really strong Pokemon out on the field simultaneously. Like, I think, for example, if turn 1 I had gone double Rock Slide, I would have knocked out Murkrow plus the Indeedee, likely, but then they get 2 free switch-ins and a Dragapult plus Delphox, and that just might be too much offense for me to deal with. But I think overall, our Pokemon matched up really well into their team, right? Like, Tyranitar Excadrill meant that Murkrow had to spend 2 different turns, both clicking Tailwind and Sunny Day, and Dragapult consistently going for those U-turns meant that I was able to just take advantage and catch whatever was coming in off guard with a high horsepower rather than knock out Murkrow. So sometimes in Pokemon, it's actually better to not take a knockout, even if you think you have one in front of you, intentionally, because you can just leave a Pokemon that's not, like, that valuable out on the field. Dragapult didn't end up Terraing. Nothing Terra'd in that game, so I was curious if there was any opportunity to Terra with it, but it may have just been Ghost Terrapult, and so they didn't want to use the Terra at that turn, right? Because, like, you're not getting any value out of it if you're clicking Dragon Darts anyway. But Dragon Terra, if they had it on Dragapult, would have saved them at least that turn. And then, yeah, Foul Play did do a lot of damage into our Kommo-O, so I, like, would assume Kommo-O feints to a Choice Band Dragon Darts from Ghost Terrapult. So no attack boost from Dragon Terra plus Foul Play from Murkrow, but I'm not 100% sure. Because if we end up surviving that, then yeah, I just Terra and Clinking Scale should just get, secure the knockout and the win for us anyway. Fortunately, Sneasler didn't come out in this matchup, and I think this team does a really good job of scaring Sneasler away because you've got the Sand and you've got Excadrill, right? I was worried about Sneasler coming out from the U-turn on turn 1. I think if Sneasler had come out in that spot after Tailwind was set up, I actually would have been in pretty bad shape because I didn't end up high horsepower in that slot, but fortunately it was Indeedee instead. Okay, this is the exact team that I just featured on the channel, actually, so if you want to see me play with the team that we're going up against, check out the video link down in the description below. It's got Assault Vest Rillaboom with high horsepower, Citrus Primarina, Dragon Terra, Outrage, Dragon Darts, Dragapult with U-turn, Swords Dance, Kingambit, Dark Terra, Magmar with Will-O-Wisp, Ghost Terra, and then Sneasler with Focus Sash, Poison Touch, Fake Out, Protect. So let's see. Primarina is, I'd say, the main issue for us. I can't really hit it very hard with a lot of Pokemon. For example, a Sneasler Primarina lead could be scary. Sneasler Primarina would be a little bit weak into Corviknight. I think Corv is decent here. Yeah, it also gives me a Rillaboom answer. So I think I'm going to go Corv, Exca, Tyranitar, Kommo-O. What I found in this kind of matchup is that it's really important to handle Primarina ASAP. Kommo-O is just completely shut down by Primarina because neither my Dragon nor my Fighting type attacks are very strong into it. Dragon being completely useless. And Aura Sphere into Primarina is not going to be that strong either. So, yeah, I think in terms of problem Pokemon for this team, Primarina is probably, like, the one that I've run into the most. That's just not the easiest to fight against. There's different versions as well, right? But, like, the bulky Citrus Berry sets can be annoying since we're very physically oriented as well. So, the idea is to use Corviknight to be able to, you know, take some Hyper Voices and heal that damage back up. Maybe Magmar Primarina. Okay. Magmar's scary, certainly, because it threatens Overheat, but obviously you're pressured by me just clicking high horsepower onto you on turn 1. I would actually kind of expect them to protect Magmar here. Yeah, like, I don't think you would just risk me being able to high horsepower you. So honestly, I'm down to bulk up turn 1 and protect here. I'm also thinking about just launching a high horsepower in Primarina, but let's see what they go for. Ideal output here would be, okay, Primarina switches, that's fine. Into Rilla, that makes sense. Dragon Terra Corviknight now is actually kind of interesting, I would say. And we're Ghost Terra with Exca, so next turn I could theoretically switch in Tyranitar and Ghost Terra high horsepower. There's Protect. Okay. Let me get bulk up off, so I'll take that. Bulk up is really nice because we eliminate Rillaboom. That's huge for us. Now I would think they just Ghost Terra Exca, honestly. So I'm thinking we just Brave Bird here and we send it. Ghost Terra, high horsepower. Because like they didn't really show that much respect to Excadrill on turn 1, right? Cool. Ghost Terra Excadrill also isn't that common, so I think we can catch our opponent off guard just with this alone. Okay, we just go for Fake Out on a Corv. But that means high horsepower connects on Magmar. Magmar does end up surviving, and they are going to get the Will-O-Wisp off, but this is totally fine still, because that damage now means that Magmar's one attack from getting knocked out, and with Corviknight now set up with that, like, Magmar's their only real answer into Corviknight right now, right? So it puts them in a pretty tough spot, I would say. What they should do now, though, is protect with this and then Wood Hammer into us here. But if they do that, they just give me a free switch in. Yeah. So I'm down to just Brave Bird into Rillaboom here. And Rock Slide's scary because it could miss, but it also gives me a flinch chance into Rilla. So I'm willing to take that. We should still KO Magmar with Rock Slide. So it would have been really nice to get the one-hit knockout there, but still fine. Okay, that is not what I expected. But this is great. Like, getting a free +1 Brave Bird into Primarina is amazing, in my opinion. As Magmar just protects. Beautiful. Because, like I said, Primarina is the main enemy here, right? If we eliminate that, then it should open the door for Kommo-O in the endgame. But now I get to Brave Bird into you. That was so much damage. Oh my goodness. Wow. Cool. So Primarina eats up the Citrus Berry. But yeah, I think like Corviknight is such an important Pokemon in this matchup. Mainly because you want to use it to handle Primarina, basically. So let's see. Like Magmar could go for Follow Me now. This is Poison Terra if it's not changed from the initial team. I think here I don't mind going for Brave Bird into Magmar. And high horsepower into this. If you stay in, then high horsepower just KOs you. Brave Bird goes into Primarina. If you switch out into Rillaboom, then I just knock you out as you switch it in. Cool. That works for me. Yeah, Primarina protects. My opponent's playing really defensive right now, and I'm taking advantage of the fact that as soon as you commit Protect to one slot, I know I can just aggressively target that slot. So this is really why I valued the bulk up on Corviknight so early on in the game. Excellent. I think the main thing is, like, turn 1 was a little bit scary because, of course, my opponent could have gone for Will-O-Wisp onto Corviknight, but I figured they probably thought that Excadrill would actually be a bigger threat than Corviknight, so they'd want to divert their attention to it instead. But, yeah, we've, like, still not really taken that much damage. I can roost off all the damage I've taken with Corviknight, which is awesome as well. I've still got Tyranitar waiting in the back, and now that we've eliminated Rillaboom, Tyranitar has a much better time because I don't have to worry about Grassy Glide or Wood Hammer. So they reveal their final Pokemon, which indeed is going to be Dragapult. Okay, that's fine. Like I said, this is Dragon Terra, so I don't think we really need to be that worried about it. I would like to eliminate Primarina. Like, we still have to respect Dragon Terra Darts just KOing everything. But I think, like, the problem for them is that Darts is going to be spread damage. I think the main thing I'm thinking here is, would I want to Roost? I think Roost and High Horsepower here in a Primarina feels fine. Because I do want to get the recovery off with Corviknight right now. Okay, here's the Terra from their end. Terrapult, okay. Into Dragon, yep. So I'm guessing they're just going Dragon Darts here, which is fine by me, since Corviknight is just going to win against the Dragapult. But they actually commit to Outrage. Okay, that makes sense. It ends up targeting the... Do we get crit? Oh, okay. The game was basically locked if the crit didn't happen there, but it's okay. They're going to Haze here. Haze is smart, actually. Would have gotten rid of the attack and the defense boost, so I like that play from their end. Oh, bummer of a crit, though, because I would have been able to just heal back everything. Terrain disappears. I think we have to go T-Tar first here. But now I actually really could lose. Yeah, because like Corviknight was the main win condition, so this just got a lot scarier. Okay, so we'll bring out... I think I have to bring out T-Tar here. This gives me at least Sand. I'm just worried because, like, if Dragapult gets every right target, like, the idea is that if they go for Outrage, you get punished, right? Because you shouldn't KO Corviknight, and then I can just keep healing. And that slot, basically, is something that can soak up damage, but they found the win con. Really well done, honestly. Props to them. Like, it sucks that we got crit, but also nice job on my opponent to find that play. Magmar was, like we said, is their last one. I think I'd rather lock into Rock Slide here. I'm debating if I want to double Rock Slide because I don't think it'll actually KO Primarina. Then we definitely shouldn't. But I think the flinch chance makes it worth it. Okay, Primarina doesn't protect, which is good. This is a big target. Let's see where they go into. Oh my goodness. They get the right target into Corv, they get a crit, they avoid flinch, and they get the right target again there. Oh. Okay, but Dragapult is confused now, which is good. They Moonblast into us. What a heartbreaking crit. But that's the downside of playing a setup strategy. Primarina survives. Okay. So now I bring Kommo-O out. It's scary because now they could win the game. You should switch this out. And they just win the game with Dragon Dart, so I would need a flinch. It's honestly really impressive my opponent was able to bring this back. Because like I was in such good shape. And it's like they needed to get quite lucky to bring it back. But I thought the game was just over. So for them to find the win condition here is really impressive. I think we just go Clanking Scales. Rock Slide. But they should switch into Magmar. Yeah. So our win condition here is flinching them as they try to attack. Because they're going to try to Dragon Darts, obviously. we miss on Primarina as well? Okay. I was like, that would be so sad. If I had knocked out Primarina last turn, then the Dragapult would have been stuck out on the field as well. But yeah, we need a flinch now to win. So, Magmar faints. And the Dragapult is going to come back in. Iron Head, Rock Slide, both 30% chance to flinch, so we'll just go for Iron Head here. 3 turns to Sandstorm. Yeah, it just comes down to whether or not we get a flinch here. Iron Head comes out. Does Dragapult flinch? It doesn't. Props to my opponent for winning this one. Like, the fact that he brought it back is honestly really impressive. Like, this is a loss I don't feel too bad about because, like, we had so many opportunities to win. Like, everything needed to go wrong. Starting just with the Outreach crit alone, right? Because even if they had hazed us, I'd still at least be able to heal back up with Corviknight. And, like, basically have something where if the Outreach ever goes into the Corviknight slot, they're in really bad shape. But yeah, like the fact that the target went into there and then the fact that the Dragapult avoided 2 different flinch chances from Rock Slide and got the right Outrage target both times was like, yeah, obviously the odds of all of that combined are fairly slim. But once again, like I said, I thought this game was just over. So the fact my opponent even found a win condition is really, really impressive. I think with Excadrill, the turn that I ended up clicking Rock Slide, okay, maybe could have just got him for the knockout onto Primarina, but I figured, hey, if we double Rock Slide here and I get the flinch onto the Dragapult, like that in itself could just win me the game. And it was really close, right? Primarina was like 1 tick of sand away from getting KO'd as well. But yeah, Corviknight was so good here, but the crit unfortunately just ignores that defense boost that we had. And Corviknight was kind of the main win condition I was playing towards in this game. So, it's the power of Outrage here, right? And because, like, I think the main thing that, when looking back in this game, is that I ended up going for the Terra with Excadrill. Although I don't think Terra actually would have saved me here, because, like, with Dragon Terra from pull, Outrage still KOs Kommo-O and Tyranitar anyway. So it's not like that really would have changed very much. I'm just trying to think where else I could have improved my play, because, like, there's definitely always opportunity for it. I don't think Samurott or Indeedee were right to bring into the matchup. Like, I'm very happy with the Pokemon I brought. We knocked out the Rillaboom. They got the free switch in then into Dragapult. I was burned at that point with Excadrill. I went high horsepower. I got crit. I went T-Tar. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have gone Kommo-O. But if I go Kommo-O, it's like if Outrage targets Kommo-O, I just lose the game there on the spot, right? But maybe it was actually like I just take the 50-50 gamble as opposed to what? Bringing in Excadrill. Excadrill immediately has a flinch chance. Maybe instead of going for the flinch, it would have been better to go like Iron Head into the, high horsepower into the Primarina to just KO it. I think that's like the main thing I'm reflecting on. But yeah, I'm honestly really impressed my opponent brought that back. I think a loss like that definitely stings because it was like, oh my gosh, so much went like against me when I was in such a commanding position. But like I said, like to be able to find a win condition like that when things were so doomed is really impressive. So kudos to them. Okay, we've got Kilowattrel, Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna, Bloodmoon, Serena, Indeedee, and Gengar. A lot of interesting things going on here. Kilowattrel is scary. They don't have weather control, though. Like, I feel like Tyranitar Excadrill here, when they have no Fake Out, no weather, no Intimidate, is a pretty clear start. Samurott for Ursaluna, Bloodmoon, and I think I'm down just for Kommo-O here. Yeah. I think you could definitely make an argument for Corviknight in this one, because it can walls a bunch of their team. It actually walls most of their team other than Kilowattrel, so I think Corviknight's a very good pick here as well. But I'm leaning more just into like the more aggressive offense with this team. I think if they go Grimmsnarl, we'll ideally try to eliminate it on turn 1. If you're my opponent, I think your best lead is Grimm plus Serena or Grimm plus Ursaluna Bloodmoon. With Ursaluna Bloodmoon, you at least pressure with Earth Power immediately, like Light Screen Earth Power. I think I would probably then just go with... what would I want to do? I could Rock Slide Iron Head. I don't know if that KOs Grimm with Reflect Up would be my concern. But if we knock out Grimmsnarl, basically it just opens the door completely for Kommo-O. And I can just like Clinging Scales everything. But yeah, like Infinity I don't think we need in this matchup. And Corviknight I think we could maybe drop Samurott for. I just like Assault Vest Samurott given their special attackers. Grim Kilowattrel, okay, totally works for me. Kilowattrel is really fast though. If you're at max speed, you should actually outpace Tyranitar here, which is nuts. So, I think I'm happy to Rock Slide and Iron Head here. Because I don't think Kilowattrel is really posing that much of a threat anyway, and I'd rather get more damage on a Grim. The idea is to eliminate Grim so that Kommo-O can just come out in Clinging Scales, right? Like, when you use Clinging Scales Kommo-O, Fairy types and Steel types are really annoying, and that's why this team is constructed the way it is. You know, Excadrill has a great matchup in a Fairy and Steel types. So it's going to be a Terra here. I mean, a defensive Terra on Kilowattrel makes a lot of sense. Terra fighting Terra Blast would be hilarious right now. Okay, it's Terra Ground. I was like, I hope I didn't just speak that into existence, but yeah, this is fine. Okay, they're cooking. But they end up splitting their damage here, so it's Terra Blast into T-Tar, which I would expect to survive, yeah. Definitely not how I anticipated Turn 1 playing out, though, and as you can see, yeah, Kilowattrel was so fast, it's one of those Pokemon where Excadrill is still slower. So, that was really cool. Probably gonna Terra Blast again. I might Terra Ghost this, honestly, just because having it outspeed the rest of my opponent's team is pretty valuable, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't want Excadrill to just Fate from a super effective Terra Blast right now. Because I think it's really good into all of my opponent's other Pokemon. So we're going to Terra Ghost defensively. And go from there. They're cooking with this one, but we should still survive Terra Blast, right? So this is fine. Yeah, cool. Cool. Great. Rock Slide comes out. And we'll eliminate Grimmsnarl. Yeah, not the dual screens Grimmsnarl you normally expect, which I think is a very smart way to build this Pokemon in best of one play with Fake Out and Scary Face. Might even have Fake Tears, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised. Ursaluna comes out. Okay. It's kind of an awkward positioning for both right now, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if this has Vacuum Wave. I think I want to switch Excadrill out right now into Samurott. And then just, yeah, reposition the Excadrill so I can just Iron Head Kilowattrel for a KO. Yep, so you just click Terra Blast again. Okay, eliminates the T-Tar this time. That's fine. Now you just get a free switch it into Excadrill, and I can just High Horsepower and Sacred Sword. And with Assault Vest here, we shouldn't take that much damage here. It was a little bit more than I would have liked, honestly. And it's the Throat Spray set. Okay, I might actually go into Kommo-O here, because it pressures with super effective Aura Sphere. So I'm going to Aura Sphere into you. Sucker Punch into you. I'm just worried about Vacuum Wave coming out from Ursaluna now. Nice targeting this last turn, though. Because Excadrill would have been faster than Ursaluna, even with Scary Face and Sand was up, so I could have stayed in and gone for the High Horsepower onto Kilowattrel. Yeah, I'm impressed by how much that Hyper Voice did. I know it was single target, but still. Okay, Kilowattrel goes for Protect here. So Sucker's going to fail. But now I get Choice Specs Aura Sphere into Ursaluna. So how bulky are you is my question. Nice. That's why you use Specs Kommo-O, folks. We just get a one hit there. Beautiful. I'm just curious about Kilowattrel's full moveset. Gengar comes out. Okay, we want to... Oh, I think I want to switch this out. Sand's about to expire anyway, though, honestly, so it might be better to actually just Aura Sphere here and Sucker Punch here. I think the risk here is if... Okay, they actually do let me just Sucker Punch them. Oh, and we just win off that. Okay. What was the fear here? I could have lost, I think, if Gengar protects, Kilowattrel KOs the Samurott. Yeah, Kilowattrel KOs the Samurott, and then I can't Aura Sphere into the Gengar, so then I'm just stuck back out with Excadrill, and then so it's then a question of whether or not the Gengar could KO us. But with Focus Sash normally being common on Gengar, I'm not sure I actually love how I played this, even though it won me the game. I don't know. What else could I have done? I could have switched the Excadrill in for the Kommo-O, and then went for Sucker Punch onto either slot. I think switching may still have been better, even though we ended up winning the game, because, yeah, it's like, when you're locked into a move with Kommo-O, it feels really bad, and, like, Gengar does have a lot of ways to get around Sucker Punch, and I was surprised it didn't carry Focus Sash. It may have been Choice Specs Gengar, though. That's a set that I've run into before as well. But, yeah. Like, if it was the typical Sash Gengar, could have been a little bit spookier there in that endgame. Okay, we have an opposing weather team with Ninetales and Executor, Indeedee, Murkrow, Kommo, and Sneasler. Wow, this should be really interesting. I think our Kommo-O looks really intriguing here. Should be really good, honestly. There's a part of me that actually wants to set up Trick Room in this game, which might seem kind of odd. I like leading Kommo-O. I don't know, Dragon Corviknight also feels like it could be really good here. I'm thinking Corv, Kommo, T-Tar, Exca in the back. Because I do want T-Tar to control the weather. Exca's really good into Sneasler. Is this James Beck by any chance? Because if so, then we have a banger of a matchup for sure. What else could I have brought in this game? I don't know. Indeedee was interesting because it's like expanding Force low-key does a lot of damage here as well. Yeah. I think Indeedee is probably the Pokemon I'm least familiar in using with this team because it's like Indeedee male with Imprison, but you can like still actually do meaningful damage with expanding Force. But let's see. I'm hoping to, yeah, just use Specs Kommo-O and deal a lot. Murkrow Eggy. Okay. I mean, Overcoat here is really good, but I have to worry about Psychic. It feels bad to, like, Terra preemptively just to respect the option of that, but, like... I also wouldn't expect Psychic to KO is the thing. But I think I will still Terra. Clanging Scales here. And Brave Bird. I think we want to push the tempo here and win the Weather War, ideally. I'm mainly worried about his Kommo-O in the late game. But I don't think we lose that much in going for this Terra, and I don't know, I just really don't want to lose to something like Tailwind plus Choice Specs Psychic KOing me. So I want to respect that. Okay, Terra on his end as well. If it's Fairy, then it gets a little bit ugly. Fairy or Steel. Am I getting Terra Blasted right now? Oh, gosh. Well, that's something you're never going to see coming. Okay. Honestly, I think it's fine. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Oh, it's focus action marker. Okay. That makes sense. Huh. I think what I want to do is bring out T-Tar here to bait out Sunny Day plus Leaf Storm. So Clanging Scales here and then switch T-Tar out into Excadrill. Get the double knockout. Ideally, like, if they end up clicking Sunny Day instead of Tailwind, that would be ideal. But yeah, I was not expecting to lose my Corviknight to that, that's for sure. Oh, okay. He switches. Kommo? Huh. This shouldn't KO us. Nice. Oh my gosh, and they're soundproof. Boy. That makes sense. I was like, that is really surprising. A lot of counters. That's okay. The thing is, I suspect his Kommo will be faster than mine, right? You have a free... You can actually fighting type attack this slot. Basically, like, we're vying for weather control here, so it's like... You could switch this out. If I were him, I'd actually protect Executor and I'd just attack with Kommo-O right now. And me switching out seems so obvious. I don't want Tyranitar to take any damage, so I'm actually going to stay in here. Clanging Scales. I'm going to read that Executor protects. Yeah, okay, good. My horsepower doesn't miss. It's a lot of damage. Ah, could have switched in T-Tar there. Hold on, but now I think I can just switch in, because his last one should be Ninetales, right? If you switch in Ninetales, like this turn, I can switch Kommo out into T-Tar. The idea is that my Kommo is slower than his Kommo, so I could see him trying to switch in Ninetales right now to snipe me. Switch in T-Tar. What do I do with this slot is the question. Rock Slide covers for the Ninetales switch in, and even if it doesn't... Okay, nice. We got it. So, changes the weather to sun, but now I change the weather to sand. Cool. Unless I miss here, like, the only risk of going for this is I can miss Rock Slide. But if I don't miss, I think we win the game, because now I have Scarf T-Tar, and then I can just Iron Head Kommo-O and knock off. But I went for Rock Slide to cover for the off chance he stayed in. Okay, I thought I missed for a second. Woof! Crazy game. Okay, so Eggy faints. We should just have this one, right? You bring Kommo-O back out, and I can just Iron Head, Kommo-O, knockoff. Low kick. I'm not sure knockoff actually KOs, so. Or sorry, like I'm not sure if you, because you could protect here, and like this could be Scarf Ninetales. So if you protect, you KO me here. I want to make sure. With 2 turns to sand though. Okay, I think knockoff is fine. We knock off here and Iron Head into Kommo-O. Cool, and Kommo-O doesn't protect. Nice. That was a crazy game. Let's see what Ninetales goes for, if anything. Yep, we're faster. Cool, I figured, like, the main thing was winning the Weather War against the Exeggutor and just, like, not giving it the chance to get that Rock Slide. So we had to make 2 reads back-to-back correctly, but we got it, which was expecting Protect from the Exeggutor and then expecting it to switch in, expecting the Ninetales to switch in for that slot. The turn that Kommo-O switched out. But yeah, I mean, like, we lost Corviknight immediately in this game, which felt really sad, and then we also didn't have we also ran into Soundproof Kommo-O, right? So, like, it just makes Clanging Scales that much less effective in this matchup. But despite that, we were able to, yeah, use Excadrill and Tyranitar and position them to get the win. But that was really scary. Like, I was not expecting offensive Exeggutor. Certainly wasn't expecting Life Orb Fire Terra. So the combination of like a Sunny Day plus Fire Terra, just Terra Blast eliminating Corviknight was really scary. But that's why even if you have a really like tough turn 1, you don't give up, because I think Sand inherently actually has a pretty good matchup overall. The main thing was, yeah, making the aggressive reads, because I felt like I was behind in this game, and it ended up paying off. Talk about going up against weather in this video. We've got Politoed, Samurott, Toxicroak, Murkrow, Serena, and our Chaladon. Okay. 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 First impression is Kommo-O looks really good here. I think I can just Clanging Scales everything. Ghost Terra looks really solid as well. I think I like Kommo-O, Exca, T-Tar in the back. Samurott doesn't even feel that good here, huh? I'm leaning towards Corv in this one. My logic for Corviknight is that it has a really good matchup into Serena and Toxicroak, and Murkrow, if it doesn't have Taunt, also can't do that much into us. When you use Corviknight, you want to look for Pokemon that you think you can easily bulk up in front of. So, yeah. Otherwise, Indeedee, I thought about a little bit. Murkrow or Chaladon, okay. I am okay with this. Normally, you're going to want to just Tailwind here, right? Tailwind. I could see them going for Tailwind Draco. Tailwind Protect would be a really good play from their end right now. Because I want to rip it and go Clanging Scales. High horsepower. But yeah, I think the reason why Tailwind Protect would work here is because Murkrow is going to have the foul play. So then, like, you bait out my Terra, and then next turn you can double up with, like, Electro Shot foul play into Kommo-O. Okay, they don't protect. That's really good, because it means our Chaladon faints here, and I'll gladly take any trade where our Chaladon faints. Okay, good. Just Draco. Nice. High horsepower comes out. Sturdy. No Sturdy! It just survives on, like, 1 HP naturally. Whoa. Okay. It might have been 2 HP, and it just ends up having Sturdy. But I just can't believe how many Murkrows we've gone up against in this episode. Samurott comes out. I mean, Politoed should be their last one. You can obviously go for a Dark-type attack into us now. The the T-Tar switch-in is just so obvious. If I were them, I would actually go for... I would consider doubling up onto this. I'm nervous about switching in T-Tar, losing it, and then losing the Weather War as a result. Okay, I'm actually going to stay in with both here, yeah. Oh, and they Rain Danced, expecting T-Tar to maybe come in. Okay, cool. Nice. Aqua Cutter, yep. That's a really smart play because it covers for the T-Tar switch in. If I switch in T-Tar, you change the weather and you just eliminate Tyranitar immediately. But now I have Focus Sash intact on Excadrill still. Let's see if this knocks out Murkrow, though. Okay, perfect. Now I win the Weather War because your last one should be that Politoed, and I can just change the weather with Tyranitar. I think I'm going to just bring T-Tar out right now immediately. Oh! They didn't even bring Politoed. That's really smart of them. I think Serena's actually scarier. The good thing is that Corviknight should shut down Serena pretty easily. 2 turns of Tailwind. So I think here I definitely want to switch in Corv. And Protect. The Protect is obvious, but I think we still go for it because we want to stall out the Tailwind. Once Tailwind stalled out, Tyranitar outpaces my opponent really effectively. What we don't want to do here is let my opponent get 2 knockouts in a row. I can't Terra, so if they knocked out Excadrill this turn, I bring T-Tar back out, and they just, you know, go for a super effective attack to KO me. With this, it's a lot harder for them to just get the knockout onto T-Tar. But they do Sacred Sword onto the Tyranitar slot. Okay. Nice double up. Well done. But, like I said, I am not willing to just risk, like, losing the game here, right? Like, even with that double up, I still take it fairly well. And, more importantly, now Tailwind is going to expire after this next turn, right? So, what we can go for here is... I don't mind roosting this turn. Bulk Up is also interesting. I could also just Brave Bird, but I think here they should consider going for Terra now. I think I like Bulk Up, though. Because with the Bulk Up, we should just hard win against Serena. So Bulk Up here and High Horsepower into Samurott. Cool, Serena protects. Even better. Wasn't expecting that, but I think this just wins us the match. Unless I miss, which I don't. Cool. Yeah, you just feign from Life Orb now, plus Sand. Okay. This is exactly why I brought Corviknight, by the way. I felt like it was a win condition in itself against these 2 Pokemon specifically, as well as Toxicroak. The scary thing is into Samurott, like, Samurott still has a decent time into you because Sacred Sword ignores the defense boosts, but yeah. I think this is a really fast-paced aggressive game, but one in which, like, I felt like I had a good number of resources, so we can just go for Brave Bird now and Iron Head. Cool. But yeah, I have to say, like, it's really interesting to see the number of Murkrow Tailwind teams that have been on ranked ladder. Like, I feel like Murkrow's presence in-game best of 3 open team sheet tournaments is, like, nearly non-existent, with Whimsicott being a much more popular Tailwind choice, especially because, like, Dondozo isn't even that popular anymore, so, like, people have been dropping, for example, like, you don't feel the need for a Haze user, for example, right? But, yeah, I think the best one online metagame is very different from the in-person open team sheet metagame, and so Murkrow has a lot of different tricks that it can have access to, and Dondozo, I'd say, is probably a little bit more common on ladder anyway, so having something to answer those teams makes sense. But yeah, just very interesting to see the number of Murkrows we've run into. The teams today have been absolutely spicy. We've got Kilowattrel, Swampert, Decidueye, regular Decidueye, Hydreigon, Hisuan Arcanine, and Alolan Ninetales. Wow. So we've checked off, we're using Sand, we've checked off Sun, Rain, and Snow all in one episode, which is wild. But Pokemon is so fun. I'm also pretty terrified of this team. I don't know, like, there's a lot of scary stuff. Kilowattrel is really scary because you're faster than Scarf T-Tar. Corv I'm a little bit scared to bring here. There's never a Trick Room angle. I might just lead Kommo-O. Excadrill, T-Tar. Samurott's not really that great here. I think we bring Corv. Corv can come out in front of, like, Decidueye, Swampert, and bulk up in front of them. Indeedee. I don't know. I think Indeedee could be worth bringing for Trick Room. That's basically it. Yeah. But the problem with Indeedee is it's just so weak to so much. Like Hydreigon in itself, we're walled by completely. Okay. Very interesting. Swampert plus the Hydreigon. This makes me want to Terra Draco Meteor to get rid of Swampert and switch out into Corv to conserve Sash. Basically, the logic here is, I mean, Clanging Scales is so good, but if I Clanging Scales into Wide Guard, I'm just cooked. And Swampert, I think one of the best reasons to use Swampert is Wide Guard. I also think here they may consider a defensive Terra with the Hydreigon, like a Steel Terra. Steel Terra actually becomes pretty problematic for us, but you know, if they have it, I have to accept it. Against Hydreigon specifically, Samurott would have been a better pick, so maybe Samurott over Corviknight would have been the move here. There's our Terra. Okay. Which makes me think they're not tearing with Hydreigon, which makes me think they're either Focus Sashed or Protecting. Or Wide Guarding, expecting to get hit by a Clanging Scales. It's going to be none of that, though. Okay, I could have just Clanging Scales there, but I don't know. I just don't love that risk on turn 1. A lot of damage to Swampert. It's so bulky, though. It's impressive it can take it as well as it did. And the Earthquake, okay. With Citrus Berry, it's like we're not even close to KOing this Pokemon. Clanging Scales at least would have just eliminated Hydreigon, gotten a ton onto Swampert. So respecting Wide Guard there ends up punishing us, but so be it. I would love to conserve this personally. But I think I am happy just going Draco here and bulk up. Very impressed by my opponent's willingness to take risk on that turn 1. Okay, given that they were not Choice Specs, not Life Orbed, and they didn't Terra on turn 1, I'm willing to bet that is Assault Vest on the Hydreigon. But getting a bulk up off here is huge, and now they're stuck on the field with a -2 Hydreigon, which I think is also not terrible for us. Liquidation, that's fine. The main problem now is like Kilowattrel in the back, I think posing some threat. But I'm down to bring out T-Tar now. With T-Tar, I can go for Rock Slide and just Brave Bird. I'm going to get rid of Swampert. Swampert's honestly a huge threat here. It's like, didn't realize how good it was into our composition. But yeah, it was a really effective turn 1 by my opponent. Opposing dragons are always scary, and like the threat of Wide Guard just makes me play a lot more cautiously. I guess they could still have Wide Guard and Wide Guard now, right? We've only seen Earthquake Liquidation from Swampert, so this would be an effective time to click Wide Guard. That being said, -2 Hydreigon without Life Orb or Specs isn't doing that much damage to either of my Pokemon, and they're not going to Wide Guard. Cool. So I get Rock Slide off. We're going to Flash Cannon. But with them being at -2 and not Assault Vest, Sandstorm, we don't take too much. And Corv being faster than Swampert here is great, as I'll just finish it off. Okay, cool. I think that has to be Assault Vest Hydreigon, right? If you have Flash Cannon as well, it would just make the most sense. Let's see what they bring out. Kilowattrel now I think would be a great switch in. I'm not really that worried about most of the other Pokemon. Ninetales, Hisuan Arc, Decidueye. None of those are that scary. If it's Kilowattrel, if you brought it, you send it out right now. I think that is Kilowattrel. No, that's Ninetales. Okay. I don't mind that. The interesting thing here is I don't even think I want to switch out Tyranitar. Normally I would, but because this slot is left so exposed right now, I think I'm happy to just click Rock Slide and Brave Bird into Hydreigon. Because with the Assault Vest Hydreigon, I think you actually are probably thinking about switching it out right now. They don't switch it out though, okay? And it's going to be a Terra on presumably Ninetales? Interesting. Terra Steel makes sense. Means you're weak to Excadrill now, though, with high horsepower. And we get Rock Slide off. So Hydreigon should faint here. We have flinch chances as well with this. No flinch. Dark Pulse into us. Not much damage. We eat up our Citrus. Okay. And they Blizzard. A lot of potential for status conditions across the board, or just secondary effects. None of it ends up coming out. The debate here now, though, is I could have switched Excadrill in and just Brave Birded. I really thought they'd switch Hydreigon out, so it was very smart of them not to. Suinar comes back, but they're going to get intimidated by us, which is good. Ah, really smart of them to stay in. I was hoping to punish them. If I had Earthquake on this would have been a wrap, but I don't. Their Ninetales was slower than their Hydreigon, though, which was really interesting. Yeah, it's just, if you're my opponent, I think you Blizzard and you just Flare Blitz here. Normally, I would switch out. I think I might actually end up staying in here. Rock Slide Roost. Okay. Let me get the Blizzard off. We faint. If they were to flinch here, I think I'd also win the game off that. No flinch. Do they miss Rock Slide? Oh, they do. I'm also surprised they Rock Slided there instead of Flare Blitz. Like, the whole reason I didn't want to switch in Excadrill was fear of Flare Blitz. But now we just bring out Exca. Go for Rock Slide again. The question is, does Ninetales protect as I high horsepower it? I'm still going to just high horsepower it because I have the chance of flinching with T-Tar Rock Slide. Like, we haven't gotten any flinches yet. But I think if I were to point to a turn in this game where I could have played differently, it would have been switching the T-Tar out that turn, because it was like Corv had a relatively free Brave Bird. I just didn't think they'd let me like knock out Hydreigon like that. I thought Hydreigon definitely was going to switch to get rid of the special attack drops. Okay, no protect, which is good. So we get Rock Slide. We were faster with Excadrill, too. I guess we could still win if they flinch here. They're just clicking Rock Slide. Are you choiced? Is it choiced? I'm just gonna high horsepower. Such a bummer to miss. We had the game won if we didn't, but let's see if they're... I don't know why they keep clicking Rock Slide. Like, I assumed... Oh, maybe because they didn't want to take Recoil. I could have gone Rock Slide. That's such a bummer. But you are going to miss attacks when you use this team. Like when you have Draco Meteor, Rock Slide, Hyper Voice. Yeah. Oh, man. There were so many different things that could have gone right for us in that endgame, like a single flinch at any point. Obviously, like high horsepower, 95% chance to just win the game on the spot. Since Excadrill did end up being faster than Ninetales, like I could have just Rock Slided there to get rid of the Arcanine and then high horsepowered. And then we would have had like a double Rock Slide flinch chance onto Ninetales as well. But yeah. I think there was still room to improve my play in that one. Like I said, I could have switched out the T-Tar. Okay, if I switched out T-Tar, Like, it would have ended up working out because they stayed in, but if they had switched out into Arcanine, I guess it's like Brave Bird Rock Slide doesn't do that much anyway, so yeah. Although, I guess... okay, if I switch T-Tar, like, would Brave Bird have KO'd Hydreigon was the question. If not, then I don't know if I actually love the switch. No, I think it's still probably fine. Yeah, I think, like, even though I got unlucky by missing high horsepower, I think that turn I should have just switched out. But in my head, I was mainly thinking their last one might be Kilowatt Roll or Decidueye. And, like, being able to punish either of those with an immediate knockout as it switches in, I was thinking would just win me the game on the spot. The problem is their last one was Arcanine, and it was able to Intimidate us. So with the Intimidate, they were able to take multiple Rock Slides. But, yeah, definitely a bummer of a way to lose the game, but really close one. Alright, we've got Goldengo, Rillaboom, Annihilate, Electabuzz, Primarina, and Dragonite here. Let's see. No weather control, so Tyranitar Excadrill looks really good immediately. Primarina's a big threat, though. Normally, my opponents, when they have that, will like lead Primarina and just threaten a lot of damage with it. Primarina Electabuzz, for example, could be scary. Kommo is a lot less effective into Primarina. We may want to consider going for bulk ups with Corviknight. I'm mainly wondering if I want to bring Indeedee, because I think it's Tyranitar Excadrill Corv, and I'm trying to think what the fourth one is. I don't think Kommo is that great when they have Primarina to begin with. Indeedee does give me some terrain control. Grass Terra Samurott doesn't seem terrible either. Okay, I'm gonna go Tyranitar. I honestly kind of want to lead Corv here. Corv, Exca, Tyranitar. And then it's Kommo or Indeedee. I'm still gonna end up bringing Kommo. I don't know, it just does so much damage to things that aren't Primarina, like Specs Draco Meteor. But I feel like Indeedee, it's like, yeah, I get the Psychic Seed, yeah, I can Expanding Force once or twice, but that's basically the extent of it. So, let's see. But my general goal here is to bulk up with Corviknight and use it to Brave Bird into Primarina. I think Corv is just really solid here. Annihilate Dragonite. Okay, so definitely have to respect Final Gambit immediately. Could just Gambit into Corv. I don't mind switching Kommo in here and protecting turn 1. The logic here is I hope that they Final Gambit into the Corviknight, try to eliminate it immediately. Corv, in my opinion, is actually the most important win condition in this game, so if I trade Kommo for Annihilate, I think that's a totally fine trade. They could just go E-Speed Close Combat into Exca as well. Okay, that's a little bit scary. It's going to be coaching. Coaching Scale Shot into Excadrill. Wow. The problem is you can just coaching again right now. It's going to be loaded dice, right? I could Terra here. Clanging Scales. Terra, Clanging Scales. Iron Head. Oi. Should have thought about coaching a little bit more, but what would I have led differently? Tyranitar Excadrill? Yeah, they're just coaching again. I assume you just Scale Shot Kommo-O now. One, two. They need 5 hits. If they get 4, we're fine. Okay. That was so scary. But now we're easily back in this. His clanging skills should just knock them out. Yeah. And now you're stuck on the field with Scarf, Annihilate with clicking coaching. But I didn't see any other way to get out of this after that turn 1. I should have anticipated coaching a little bit more, but I don't even know what I would have done differently. Because it's like, with the defense boosts, I just do such little damage, right? So like, Kommo is my only way of responding to the Dragonite. Rilla comes out. Guess you can just coaching Rilla now. Grassy Glide into this. Switching Corv. And high horsepower. Oh, maybe I like bringing T-Tar in there more just to deny them coaching. They went for Fake Out. I could have gone Clinking Scales there. Oh! It's not even Choice Scarfed. What? I've been bamboozled. Okay, I didn't expect that. Now that's interesting. I definitely want to bulk up here. It's Assault Vest Annihilate then, right? Is my guess. I'm gonna bulk up and switch into Kommo-O. That is a twist for sure. It's really interesting. Oh, and they do just go for coaching. Nicely done. Okay. Drum beating as well. That's cool. I don't mind Rillaboom getting the coaching boost off very much. But yeah, it not being Scarf Annihilate is definitely a twist. Bring out T-Tar. T-Tar out. I want a Brave Bird, Rilla. Knock off into it. Okay, they don't Terra, which is good. Their Assault Vest, yep. Okay, and they just Rage Fist. That's really good instead of another coaching. And then the question is, can +1 Core without Citrus and Excadrill close out this game? This Annihilate set just took me in for a whirlwind. Because I thought like it would be Choice Scarf for sure, so it's not Assault Vest either. I don't even know what the item is on it. Okay, we do knock out Rilla. Nice. I'm really surprised by my opponent not tearing Rilla or Dragonite in this game, but I'll take it. Oh, it's Goggles on the Annihilate. Interesting. That's such a fascinating set. Okay. And Golden goes their last one. I'm happy to see that. I'm going to Roost here. Would I rather Roost or just Brave Bird you? Does high horsepower KO Annihilate? Do they Drain Punch? Is this Choice Specs Thunderbolt Shadow Ball? Is it Steel Terra? There's so many questions. I'm gonna Roost, high horsepower, Golden Go. Alright, here's the Terra, but who is it on? I mean, Golden Go makes sense. Yeah, Dragon. Dark, okay. The question here is whether or not they thought Excadrill would protect this turn. Yeah, would have KO'd without Terra. Wait. Don't we win? Your Golden Goal isn't one-shotting me here, right? Okay, does Spec Shadow Ball KO, I guess, is the question. It doesn't even look like Specs, but we get a special defense drop. Does it matter? I think not, since another high horsepower just KOs. So I'm guessing Annihilape didn't have a fighting type attack. Oh, but there's Citrus Berry, sorry, leftovers, okay. Last turn of grassy terrain and sand. I mean, it's going to be a damage roll on whether or not another high horsepower KOs, right? Final Gambit, Rage Fist, Coaching, Safety Goggles, Annihilape. I have not seen that before. That is really unique. Yeah, Protect here is obvious. Without the special defense drop, I think I could have survived another Shadow Ball too. But now I definitely faint, so it's a question of whether or not the 2 extra ticks of leftovers is enough for them. I think the answer is no if I get the same roll as the first one. Because we did like 60-ish%, and they're just over 50 right now. Terrain disappears. No point in protecting. Yeah, we just go for high horsepower here. Okay, it connects. Oh. Okay. That was a wild game. I thought it was so cooked when the Annihilape was just coaching on us, and I was like, okay, at least, you know, we got the knockout, we found Kommo getting the KO, Annihilape is now stuck clicking coaching, but then no, it was able to switch its moves a bunch. And then that turn with Final Gambit, that totally threw me in for a loop. The Gambit makes sense, because I'm guessing my opponent was just like, well, I don't really have a way to deal with your Corviknight very easily, so let me at least just trade and make it a 1v1. But yeah, I was happy with the 1v1 trade, because Excadrill is good into the Golden Go. So yeah. I think maybe my opponent was hoping I didn't have high horsepower and only was running like Earthquake, for example, so then my damage output is greatly reduced because of grassy terrain being up. But yeah, I wonder if it would have been better for Annihilape to just like stay on the field and just like click coaching onto the Golden Go instead. Either way, that was one heck of a game. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much, as always, for joining me. These games were really, really fun, and we fought against a lot of really cool teams today. Very happy to feature such a unique team with, you know, the classic combo of T-Tar plus Excadrill, and then, of course, utilizing the Kommo-O as well. So, yeah, thanks so much, as always, for joining me. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.